Hello, everyone, and how are you all today? Thanks so much for being with me. My name is Alene, and this series is brought to you by Sample Assignment, Alene in Australia, for you guys to experience my journey as a student in Australia with me. That being said, I'm really happy to inform you guys that I've finally made it to Australia and I've started to live my dream. And I hope to keep you guys with me for you to be able to understand how to make the best decisions when you're as a student in Australia. Now, in order to make things clear for you and for you to be able to get the best of the experience, we've decided to branch out this series now so as to not overlap concepts and confuse you guys. By that, I mean that there'll be a different series, episodes of which will be released on a different day for you to be able to understand how is it like and what the process of applying to Australian universities is like. And in a different set of episodes, I will specifically be focusing on my life in Australia for you to be able to get a gist of how things are done around here and what to do once you've made it to your university. So, that being said, in this particular episode, we will be continuing from where we left off last time, and I believe we had started a bit about the application process to Australian universities. We did quite a bit of discussion about reaching or deciding upon the set of programs or courses you might be interested in. And for sure, you must have done your research in order to be able to shortlist 4 to 5 universities into which you might be interested to get into, right? So we're hoping that you have that list by now. You've done your research, you've compared the units, you've asked around, and you finally made a list of 5 universities in which you would like to study your course in. Now, it's always a good idea to apply to 3 universities, 2 to 3 universities at once, and get them offer letters from them. And then decide which offer letter would you like to accept and which university is with you'd like to go ahead with. Right, so it's completely fine. But you should have at least 5 universities in mind where you'd like to study your course in. Now that you know about the course you want to study and you know about the universities where your course is being taught, and you also might at this point know the difference in the units which are taught in these courses and how are they different from each other. For example, how is Masters of IT and the units within it different from if you're doing Masters in IT from University A, the units within this course, how is it different from the Masters in IT course in University B? So you have to figure all that out, and you might have an idea about it. And you might also take your research a bit ahead and just see whether the desired or your desired specialization is provided by which university. You have to check that. So if University A provides specialization in cybersecurity, which is your area of interest, it might not be provided by University B, even though University B provides a very good Masters in IT program. So you have to do research at that level as well, so that ultimately you have a broad range of choices and you know that what your bigger plan is. So obviously that's one level of analysis for you to know the units within a particular program of a particular university and the specializations offered within that program. You should have an idea about that. And once you know that, the next step of analysis, which you must carry out, is the comparison of fee structure. Once you've compared that, you also might want to know the location of the campus to which you're going. So one by one at a time. Previously, almost at the end of the previous episode, we all were talking about some of the cream Australian universities. Now there's Australian National University, there's University of Melbourne, University of Sydney. These are some very good universities. And if you visit their websites, websites of these universities, and check out the program which you might want to study, or maybe a related course to your field of study, you can just understand the units which are taught there. You might even try to understand what their expectations are in terms of the eligibility of a candidate who wishes to apply to this university. And of course, you need to check out the fee structure. Now, I won't say that, especially these are some very good universities, I really won't say that it's easy to get into them, but it's not that hard. I mean, if you're a good student, if you've done fairly good in your academics and you have a clean record, it's quite likely that you'll be accepted into these universities. It's not that difficult, essentially because I've told you previously, the Australian government itself is very welcoming to international students, and the Australian application process into universities is not that tedious or difficult. So if you wish to apply to these universities, go into these universities, it's absolutely fine, and you can apply for them and you can definitely get into. The catch here is that the quality of education offered at these universities is amazing. It's great. Now, the Australian education system is like that. It's a mix of exams and assignments. I'll be explaining that later in a different series when I'll be talking about my week 1 and my week 2 journeys. But for now, you just understand this, that their way of teaching, their assignments, exam, and the whole program or the course in general would be difficult, definitely. And the challenges and the hurdles they set up for students, it's quite engaging, and you might want to just really focus on just your studies when you're into these universities as an international student, because the tasks, the assignments, the exams, they're definitely harder as compared to other universities which fall into the middle range. We'll come to that later, what these universities are. And that's why I think they're demanding a higher fee, because their quality of education is absolutely just at the top. It's great, right? So definitely, if you think yourself as a person who's very good at academics and you just want to be the best in your field and you can afford the fee structure and everything, you should definitely go for these universities. It'll be worth it if your sole focus is to just enhance your technical skills, just enhance your technical knowledge and be the best in your course. So definitely you should go ahead with these unis. Now, some of the universities which fall into the middle range. Now, middle range, by that I mean that these universities are good and renowned, and will definitely their teaching style would be quite all right. It's good to be here, but the assignments, the exams shouldn't be as difficult as the cream universities like UniMel or University of Sydney. They shouldn't be that difficult, but nonetheless, the quality of education is all right. I mean, the world ranking of these middle range Australian universities will be obviously, the ranking would be bigger than the ranking of the cream universities we talked about. But still, these are good options. It's not a bad idea to apply into these universities, especially because the education system is quite the same for all Australian universities. You will be given assignments and exams, and you'll be given access to a whole load of study material which you could avail from, which you could study and still become great in your chosen field. So there isn't any lack of opportunities if you wish to go ahead with these middle range universities. Examples of these universities are La Trobe, Monash, RMIT, Deakin. These are some of the middle range universities, and it's not a bad idea to apply to these universities. You'll get to be a part of many other things as a student here. You'll be able to have access to a good number of study material for you to be able to do well in your studies. And that I would say that it would not be that difficult to be able to complete your assignments or exams. Within these universities too, could be some comparisons which you can which you can make. You'll have to ask around people. From my own research, I come to realize that some universities like Monash and RMIT, they have slightly difficult course structure, and there are other universities like La Trobe and Deakin where things shouldn't be that difficult and you should be able to do it quite well. So best of luck to you, to whichever university you wish to go to. And also, let me just talk about the fee. Now the fee drastically drops down for these universities. It's quite high for the cream universities we talked about, but the fee structure of these middle range universities, I would say, become more affordable. That's one thing. And next up is the location, which you must find out about the location of these universities. Now, obviously, if you're spending so much going to a different country to study, you shouldn't, just take up a campus which is absolutely excluded, isolated, and makes your life dull. I mean, you'll be living in a room alone, and you'll have to do most of the things yourself. It's best to keep yourself entertained and to be in a place which has its noise. I mean, obviously it's important for you to focus on your studies and have that quiet time to time. But if you're in an absolutely isolated campus, then you might start to feel bored, upset. So you need to make a decision based on the location as well. Talking about that, I'll give you a short example. There's a university called Edith Cowan University. Great study programs, and you should just visit the website of this university. It's called ECU, Edith Cowan University, and just check out the courses present there. This university might even offer some of the less popular courses in Australia. Example being Masters in Bioinformatics. Now, you'll find Master of Bioinformatics in UniMel, but you won't find it in Deakin. You'll find an amalgamated course in Deakin, which is not specifically about bioinformatics. And you might find Masters in Data Science with a specialization in bioinformatics in La Trobe University. I think that this example can clear out many things for you, how you should give time to researching about programs and courses and the specializations offered and the units which are present within, then carrying out a comparison between programs offered at different universities from the same field. I think you'll be getting the gist now, what I'm talking about. So, coming back to this example, ECU can offer some of the less popular courses, but at the same time, you should just check out the campus of ECU. And it's located in Perth. It's on the suburbs, and it can have less population, and you might feel bored there. But then again, the living costs of this location are slightly less as compared to living in some main city like Melbourne or Sydney. So you can think about that too. Not only the living costs, but the fee structure of this university is slightly less as compared to the other universities, even the middle range ones. So you can give this a thought. For that, you must visit the website of ECU, check out the course, and check out the campus, check out the location of the campus, and definitely, I can tell you, you'll get a very good idea. So if you're the kind of person who would just cut down on the costs that will be spent as an international student. And if you're finding a good course in ECU, it's not a bad option. You can definitely go ahead with it. Now that we've spoken about the different types of universities, we've talked quite a lot about the different types of programs that can be offered within the same field of study at different universities. We've also understood quite a lot about the concept related to units. We've understood how it is important for us to know the location of the campus we're going into. It's important to compare the fee structure as well, besides the program structure. So all of these are very important. Let me just, put this information in for you. If in case you have absolutely any queries, for sure you can reach out to Sample Assignment, and I especially will be happy to offer you a personal session as to how we can help you out, how you should make the best decision when it comes to applying to different programs. Definitely the staff at Sample Assignment can help you out, right, and offer you personalized sessions if in case you're confused about something and if you'd like to inquire something. Now, that being said, let me just we're reaching towards the end of this episode. Let me just discuss some bit about the scholarships. Now, all of you must have this query in mind. Alene, you're talking about the fee structure, you're talking about everything. Isn't there a way that we can study at UniMel maybe, but with a reduced fee? That's a very great question, guys. And if you are having this question in mind, it's a completely valid question. The hard truth is, it's slightly difficult to get absolutely good scholarships when you're applying to Australian university. That is a harsh truth. And some universities might offer around 20 to 25% of scholarship, that too based on your academic merit. But if we're talking about the cream universities, the ones at the top, let me just start off with them. So now what happens is that, let's say you've applied to University of Melbourne, and you've submitted the application. You're just waiting on their revert. The thing there is that they might offer you a scholarship based on your merit, your academic merit. Maybe around 10,000 AUD. Yes, that's possible. That's really, how you've planned out your application and how your agent has helped you, how the documentation you submitted is. We'll definitely talk about the documentation part later, but let's say your application is very great and your academic performance in the past has been great. You can be offered such a scholarship where they've, reduced 10,000 AUD on your fee. So that's possible. I won't say it isn't. It is possible, but that largely depends on your academic merit as well. If you have a tremendous academic background, it's quite possible that you get this scholarship. I'm talking about UniMel here. And you'll have to check out other websites, how things work out for them. It's always great to mail the universities about this, email them, contact them on chat support. If you can make an international call to these universities to ask about the scholarships, that can be great. You can reach out to them through chat, through email, through calls. All of that is possible. And you may even reach out to the authorized agents which are present within your country, and maybe they can help you out into understanding the criteria well, and how you can draft your application in a manner so that they can become impressed. And if you're not understanding the part about agents and everything, you don't be worried at all. We will be discussing about that in the next episode for sure. Well, I would not like to just brush up on this topic on scholarships. I know that you guys have many questions about it, and I'd like to address them all. I'd like to cover this topic properly. So for now, I'm ending this episode. In the next episode, we're surely going to talk about the scholarships and the whole process of application, what kind of documents you should supply, and what is the best way to apply to your desired university. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for being with us. And let's meet you in the next episode soon.